Right now I'm going to go over flash modes, the different buttons that you're going to use for flash modes and why you'd use them. Let's go to the back of the camera, and you're going to notice you got, of course, your command dial here. This is going to be very important. The command dial is going to be used with two different buttons here. One is the flash button on this side, and the other one you might end up using is the compensation button right here near the shutter. So let's go through the different flash modes. To go through the different flash modes, you're going to hit your flash button. The flash goes up, and let's look on the back of your information screen. You're going to notice as I hold the flash mode button down, a little yellow icon appears. I'm going to rotate the command dial on the back of the camera, and you can see as I'm doing this we end up going through all the different flash modes. Let's start with the first one. The basic one is your typical flash on. That just means the flash is on and fires as normal. I'm going to rotate the command dial, and then you have the flash on with rear. That means rear curtain sync. So if you're shooting a shot of a car going by at night with its taillights, it's not going to really look proper at a longer exposure unless you put it on rear curtain sync. It'll look a little odd, but having it on rear curtain sync, the taillights of the car will then be trailing. It looks a little more natural. The next one is slow. So if you were taking a picture of somebody at night and you wanted the background to be in focus too, you would tell that person to hold really still and do a slow exposure, perhaps at a quarter a second, half a second, even 1/15 of a second, and this will allow the background to come out well as the person lit up by the flash. The next one is the slow curtain sync with the red eye. And so with the red eye you get the little pre-flash where the flash fires off a series of slight bursts to get everybody's eyes adjusted to prevent the red eye. And then the other setting, of course, is just your flash with your red eye. And then, of course, you're back to standard flash mode. Now, the other thing to know about is the exposure compensation in flash. I really should just call it flash compensation. And let's look at the camera back again. So to do this, you're going to use your compensation button. Now this compensation button, when not being used for flash, is used for normal exposure compensation button. But if you're pressing the flash button here on the back and holding it down, and you hold down this button, it gets a little tricky, and you rotate the dial on the back. Let me just show that command dial again. So you're holding those two buttons down, and you're rotating your command dial. This is probably the only time in the camera that you're going to have three things going at the same time. And let's look at the screen on the back. You notice as I hold down that compensation button, I'm holding down the flash button, I hit the compensation button, and it goes over to another little icon, and this decides how much or how less that you want your flash to fire. So that's a normal setting. If I rotate the dial to the right, we're going to give it a little bit more power, and as I rotate it to the left, you can reduce the amount of power that your flash is giving off. And this is really important if you're doing daytime shots with flash and the normal setting might just look too bright and you just want to reduce it with the minus. So there's your normal setting. Then you reduce it using the command dial to get a little less flash on the person, and it can tend to look a little more natural. So that is your flash compensation. One more thing to add about your flash modes is from your information screen, you have the other information screen if you hit it, the editable information screen, and if you hold down your flash button the same way we did it before, you can also adjust the same way from this screen. As you could see on the left here, you have your flash modes, and they are adjustable the same way with the command dial on the back of the screen. If you were to hold the compensation button for flash at the same time you're holding the flash button, just like we talked about a minute ago, your flash compensation is going to come up and you can edit it. So either information screen, you can edit your flash modes.